When I send all my doubts and demons on their way, every endeavor I have made ever is coming into play, is here and now today.
Yes, folks, and this is the moment that you get to find out who is my next amazing guest. I am Coach Roger Vaidya, Believe It and Become It, and as always, I appreciate all of you. You're going to ring the victory bell for being here and being so amazing. And you know who else is amazing? My next amazing guest. His name is the amazing Jaison Thomas. He is a leadership consultant and former operations director dedicated to empowering manufacturing leaders to boost team performance and transform workplace culture. Something that's very close to my heart, too. His career spans from turning wrenches as an entry-level mechanic to the U.S. Air Force to running chemical plants in the civilian world, giving him a unique ability to bridge frontline operations with executive strategy. As a creator of LeadershipMODE, a signature leadership development program, Jaison focuses on fostering growth, inspiring change, and shaping impactful leaders. He excels at helping organizations build high-performing teams by prioritizing trust, communication, and accountability. So without any further delay, let's welcome the one, the only, super handsome, super talented, and the guy who walked to school uphill both ways in the snow, barefoot, the one and only, Jaison Thomas. Hey, Jaison, welcome, brother. How are you doing today?
Raja, hello. I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. And everybody else that's watching on the live, if you want to be fantastic, hit that victory bell. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel, and click that link below so you can add comments as well. So let's just dive right in, my friend. I've been looking forward to this because when you talked about your background in how basically you do process improvement and project management, I mean, I just got excited because I've been in corporate pharma. I've been a cancer scientist for 26 years. That's the thing that I used to do, asset development, optimizing processes, getting them to market faster. And just tell me a little bit more about yourself. Now, you talked about really focusing on helping new and young leaders. Tell me, why is that?
Certainly, I'd love to. So, Raja, my passion for helping the younger generation, the newer leaders that are coming up, is because obviously we're seeing a shift, right? We're seeing a lot of people who are exiting the world, going to retirement, and now you have a bunch of new leaders who are coming in. And I remember I've been there, right? I started off my career, and I remember having direct reports with kids who were older than me. So it was just a challenging environment. And I remember going through it. I accidentally was able to understand how things worked, how to motivate people. And now I'm passionate about helping the same people that I've been helping all along, while kind of reflecting on what has helped me get to where I am today. So that's where, leadership mode comes in. I've developed that, hey, this is a very interesting system, but it's also very valuable, very useful for people that have those same challenges. And I love being able to support that culture and that environment while still staying close to manufacturing.
Gotcha. And what's funny? Like, I remember when I worked at Johnson & Johnson, I was part of the leadership team in the professional development branch, talking with a group called SHINE, and SHINE stood for supporting, helping integrate new employees. So we developed a new handbook for new employees, so they had something to go to when they got to the company, and so they didn't have 100 questions to ask their manager. Instead, they have some of their answers sort of like FAQ already kind of answered, so it saves a lot of time. So it's that sort of idea that, man, I wish I had that in my time. That would have been so helpful.
Bingo. That tends to be the script, right? We go through it and then we look back and we're thinking, oh, this is something that I know will help people in the future, but I never had it, right?
But I never had it. Yeah, and that's okay. That's like as a father, I've been married for 21 years. I got 2 beautiful children, and my son and my daughter. I always say, listen, a parent is the only person that wants you to do more than them, that wants you to be more
Mm.
successful than them, that wants you to have more happiness, more money, more wealth, more everything, more than them. And it's and but sometimes even parents don't know how to guide their children. So as a manager, as you're learning how to guide these new employees, right, you have to sort of have that same sort of empathetic feeling as a servant leader. Now, you talked about your passion about manufacturing. Now, I just gave a keynote to a Pfizer World Headquarters last month, and it was something called the Discovery Summit, and DISC stood for DEI in supply chain, and supply chain, of course, also is connected to manufacturing. So, why are you so passionate about manufacturing?
I love it. My grandfather was in manufacturing. So he
Hmm.
was an entrepreneur, and he actually built his own company and his own factory from the ground up. And
Oh,
he
wow.
he he had 300 people, Raja. He had a big operation.
Whoa, no
And
kidding. That's
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, it was amazing. And I actually worked in this factory when I was a kid.
Oh, well,
And
I wish you had pictures to show us. You'll have to
oh, I
show
know.
me some later.
I honestly I need to find these pictures because I don't know if if it's out there, but it was a huge kind of eye opener for me because I had a chance to be on the floor, kind of in the middle of the mayhem, sweating and working and moving and running, and I was hooked, right? Immediately I was hooked and I was thinking this is amazing because it's one thing knowing that you're providing value and it's another thing feeling it, right? You're walking through it.
Yeah.
You're seeing everything move. And just the ability to be able to put our hands on the process, on the product and see it transform was a huge eye opener and kind of really attracted me to that way of life. And at this
Mhm.
factory, they were making matches, right? The old school wooden matches that they're making just
Really?
as tires.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty
fascinating
cool.
operation. And then from there, I realized that it was the flow, the rhythm, the people, the interactions, and then
Yeah.
seeing what came in as a raw material completely transformed and
Yeah.
being shipped out in a truck was a very kind of profound experience because here it is something originally that nobody could use, but now once we're done with it, people are not only using it, but they're paying for it. It gives value, it helps people. So just having
Mhm.
that whole lifespan exposure, it kind of opened up my eyes to be able to corner in what interested me the most. And
Yeah.
since then, I've always been involved. Every time I see a machine or a chemical plant or something on the road, I'm always
Yeah.
curious. Hey, what did they make there? How did they make it? How many people are there?
Yeah.
So there's always this kind of infatuation with this idea of things getting made and the order in which they flow. And since
Oh, I
then, I
love
mean,
it.
I've
I
been
love it.
yeah,
Beautiful.
17 years later, I'm still trying to stay plugged in.
Yeah. I love that. Now what's cool is this, like, when I was just watching a documentary, I think it was on Amazon Prime, about how they build cars, very specifically different kinds of cars, like how they build a Porsche, how do they build Ferrari, how do they build so and so. And actually, one of the most interesting ones to me was watching the one where they built the Chevy Suburban in Texas, and how the massive amount of metal and steel and
Yeah.
wires, and how it gets painted, and how many robots are involved, and the sheer number of people that basically, you know, continue building, like say for a Chevy Suburban versus a Land Rover, like the whole Land Rover factory is like, apparently it's like generational, like family, there's like 3 generations of people working in that factory. And I started seeing the same thing with this Chevy Suburban plant when they were producing these massive trucks, and just thinking, why would you ever want one? But yet I really want one. I really want one. I like monster
Absolutely.
trucks, you know?
I'm right there
Um,
with you. Yeah.
yeah.
and
And,
and the
but it's a cool
yeah,
thing when you see, like, a fleet of black Chevy Suburbans roll up in front of a courthouse or the White House or somewhere, somebody of
certainly.
importance inside, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And
And
somebody
we
had to
we
ensure the
see the tip
process.
of it, right? And we see just what we're kind of what's in front of us, but then when we really understand how many things had to come into place for that to happen, it's not
Yeah.
just mean, it's one factory, but then it's countries, it's other communities, it's all these different raw materials that brought something that we use together.
Yeah. Now, that's a great segue into my next question is that, I love watching how teams prosper, how teams become more productive and eventually more profitable. So, how would you describe the ideal workplace culture?
Mm. Workplace culture, it's really how the market is able to keep and retain their people. So if you think of
Mhm.
workplace culture, and
Yeah.
especially as a leader, whether it be manufacturing or even across industries, if you're able to retain your people for a healthy period of time, few things are going right. A, compensation is probably really high. B, you're treating your people really well. And C, there's a value, right? People feel like they're a part of something bigger and better than themselves.
Yeah.
So when I think of a leadership lens, hey, how would I
Hmm.
describe the ideal workplace culture? I think back to knowing that leaders are, we're not going to make everything perfect, but are we making it better? Are the people that were
Yeah.
coming into work yesterday, are they feeling a better purpose, a bigger purpose, or are they still connected? Because
Yeah.
this whole thing is a journey and we're always trying to make incremental improvements. And the word that I often think of is, are we directionally sound, right? Are we going in this right direction, the right trajectory? And
Hmm.
workplace culture, it is valued based on the trust, the communication, the output. And leaders tend to struggle here because there are times where people just don't feel happy. Right? People, we're not going
Yeah.
to make 100% of the people happy. And my advice,
Yeah.
especially for young leaders and new leaders who are coming into this journey, I'll say,
Yeah.
if we choose or if we're prioritizing making everybody happy, it's going to be a tough, tough uphill battle because,
Yeah.
frankly, two reasons. Number one, if we're making everybody happy, that's we're not doing part of our job because a part of our job requires us to push in order to make
Yeah.
improvements and to challenge. And then the other
Hmm.
part is are we making an enough impact? Are we actually moving the needle towards improvement and not just
Yeah.
keeping the status quo? So I've
Right.
had people who complained about free food, right? Hey, we're doing something as a company. We're helping people. We want to do things. And when we offer free food, there are still people who are not happy about it. Oh, I wanted this instead of that. So that's where my advice is, tune it out. It's okay, right? Things will happen,
Yeah. You won't
but
please everybody there.
we won't please everybody, but that doesn't mean we stop, right? Just
Yeah.
because one person doesn't like the free food, there's still 99 people that appreciate it. So
Yeah.
my goal for a workplace culture is focus in on what matters most, make those improvements, and by the time you're done, by the time you've actually helped, you can look back and say, even if it wasn't perfect, I did the best I could with what I had. And that's the
Absolutely.
lesson that I really hope people walk away with.
I love that. I love that. Now, Jason, you have a gift that you want to share with everybody. Can you share what that is?
Certainly.
There's that link down below. And oh, I'm sorry, I clicked on the wrong one. There it is.
Absolutely. I'll introduce leadership mode. So leadership mode is what I
Hmm.
want to expand on here because mode is an acronym. When you think of
Mm,
M, it's mantra. Mantra is basically, how CEOs have core vision, core statements, core values, mission statements, vision statements, and so on. And I
hmm.
realized that those are great, but a team
Yeah.
needs something that is local. So, a priority or a list of priorities, especially in a large company that a CEO has, may not be identical to every single level of the operation. So, then each
Right.
localized team should have their own mantra, right? What are we
Gotcha.
marching towards? What are we trying to
That's
hit?
great. It's great.
Yeah. And the
Hmm.
next so as we move through, it's O is one touch, which is how fast we can fix
Yeah.
problems, at what
Hmm.
level. We want to keep it easy. And then D is dynamics. This is where the
Hmm.
culture, right? Where does the culture within your team fit in? How well can you understand it and leverage their impact? This is communication, motivation, relationships. And then E is evaluate. Evaluate, one of my favorite analogies here,
Yeah.
leading indicators versus lagging indicators. Banks don't
Yeah.
celebrate not getting robbed. That's just
Right.
what they're supposed to do, right? Banks are just supposed to work and not get robbed. These dynamics, Raja. And
Yeah.
I've seen often, by the way, Raja, D is dynamics.
I'm sorry. Oh,
DYNA.
I'm sorry. I was
Yeah,
trying to hear that. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Let me revise that here. Um,
certainly.
okay.
M is
And you said,
mantra, O is one touch, D is
oh,
dynamics,
one
and
touch.
E is
Okay.
evaluate.
All right. Yeah. I'll put that on the show notes. I gotta
Perfect.
move on to our next segment here. For a
Mhm.
second here. So okay, great dynamics and excellent. All right. And you said E equals
E
um
is to evaluate. So this is where we
evaluate.
measure
Beautiful.
leading indicators versus lagging indicators so we know what matters most for our business and for our team.
Okay, I love it. So here we go. So we got mantra, one touch, dynamics, and evaluate. There we go. Now we got it up there.
Perfect. Love
All
it.
right, beautiful. So, folks, if you're getting great value, please give us some thumb ups and some likes and some hearts. You're gonna ring the Victor bell if you do that. And also, uh, we just launched our YouTube channel last month. Make sure you like and subscribe down below. And Jason's gifts will be in the show notes or in the banner, depending on which platform you're in, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on the podcast or LinkedIn. Make sure you grab that and make sure that we can help to improve your company by using that four-step process of mode. I love that, man. So, Jason, let's shift gears real fast and talk about it's what I call the speed dating round. The softer side is serious because people join a person, not a business. Tell me, where did you grow up and how did you grow up?
Oh, great question. I was born and raised in New York. So born in Queens,
Ooh,
raised on
big
Long
up.
Island. And yeah, I grew up. I had, two parents. I had a little sister. Very uh, kind of immigrant background. Right? My parents came from India in the '80s, and
Mm-hmm.
we had a very tight knit community. So obviously, my dad was one of seven.
Mm-hmm.
We were always around family. We were very plugged into our church, so we had
Yeah.
a ton of people around growing up.
Yeah.
Um,
Pretty
Great
cool.
childhood. I actually ended up um, leaving at 18 just to kind of find my own path forward. And life
Yeah.
has given me a few surprises and twists and turns along the
Oh,
way.
yes, it does.
Um,
Yes, it
but
does.
yeah, so long story short, I left at 18 and more than half my life I've been away, but I still obviously am very close to my sister and my family. And, great childhood, all things considered. I had food on the table every
Nice.
day, clothes on my back every day, a roof over my head. So I was blessed.
So, so growing up, is there a fun fact about you that maybe people don't know?
Generally, I would say that most people don't know much about me because I'm not on any social media or anything like that to begin
Oh,
with,
really?
except for LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the only thing that I use.
All right.
But one fun fact I'll say is I am a self-taught um, guitarist. I play the piano, the drums, and guitar. So
Nice.
I have a very keen ear for music and
Yep.
kind of picking up songs as I hear it. So I did take a few lessons growing up, but it was very short lived. And I'll say with a decent amount of confidence that I taught myself primarily everything for all three instruments.
That's awesome. So I gotta say, like, I love that because like I remember like it's eerie how much parts of this story sound like mine because my parents came here in the late 70s to the US. And I'm self-taught on piano and guitar, and I'm a
Uh,
singer. So and it's amazing how I use singing as a way to originally to hide my my stutter, but then it became a skill that I used in spite of my stutter to communicate and to really just finally feel free. So
mm,
I love that about you, man. This is so
that's
much fun.
awesome. I love
Tell
it.
me about what about was there a movie or a book that helped inspire you?
Mm. The first book that comes to mind is a book. The title is Fearless by Eric Bland. I don't want to mess up his name. It's a Eric Blem, Blehm, and
Okay.
it's a book. It's actually a book about a Navy SEAL, true story. nonfiction about him
Yeah.
and his struggles with addiction and just worldly problems.
Mm,
Very profound book, and one of my favorite books, I'll
cool.
say. Yeah, highly recommended.
Yeah. I I I loved. I remember one of the things that really turned the needle for me was reading Extreme Ownership, also by the two Navy SEALs, Jocko
Jocko
Willink
Willink.
and
Yes.
Leaf uh, 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 Babin, and it was such an eye opener, saying to change your perception about the things happening to you, and say, you know what? It's all my choices that made me here. Every single mistake that I made in life, and every single a decision I made, and I own it. And when you get that
I
extreme
love it.
ownership attitude, it's great. What about what's your favorite kind of music?
Oh, I've been fortunate enough to live in different parts of the country, and I've traveled to 25 different
Yeah.
countries. So I've seen a lot of the cultural ideas and concepts behind music. So I would say for example, right now, if you were to ask me that question, I'm going to answer by saying country music, right? So I'll say one of the songs that I'm thinking about recently, every time Thanksgiving comes around, I always think about the song Country Roads Take Me Home. John
Oh yeah,
Denver. Oh, yeah. I
John
mean,
Denver. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But I've had, that's the song that comes to mind right now. And maybe generally I'll listen to, pop music. I grew up in the 90s in New York, so Jay-Z was a big part of it.
Hmm.
Um, even oh my goodness, what yeah, there's some reggae songs and things like that that come to mind too. So tons
Yeah,
of different music fortunately I was exposed to. So I love it.
yeah. I I I remember hearing the story about Bob Marley. There was a documentary about him recently called One Love,
Uh-huh.
and I was watching parts of that and saying how his assassination attempt was actually politically motivated, and how the day after he got shot, he went to go perform, and the reporters were asking, like, "Are you crazy? Why are you doing this?" He said very clearly that, because the evildoers are not taking a day off, so the good people can't take a day off either.
That's
I'm
right.
like, ah, love it,
That's right.
love
It's
it.
gold. That's gold.
Yeah. So, Jason, man, this has been amazing. Just one more question for you. You know, what do you want people to recall about you?
Hmm. That's a great question. When I think of the people, I would say obviously I want my wife and my kids to have an answer. I would want them to kind of address how I was as a father, as a husband, more importantly.
Yeah.
And then when I think of the general public, I would think that there are a lot of people who I know that have worked with me before and seen how I think and the impact, and I would want people to say that I was net positive, right? I left things better than I found them,
I
and
love
I
that.
that's the goal, at least for me personally. If people say that, I will be smiling from above. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. Uh, Last question before we shift gears into our sponsor segment. What is your favorite food?
Ooh, it's got to be. I'm on a
You've been to
bit of a
25
health.
countries. You must have tasted a lot of different kinds of foods. I'm
Oh,
curious.
yeah. Well, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm still a New Yorker, so I've gotta go New York pizza.
Really? Okay.
That's it.
Really
That's it.
big, thin slices that you can fold up, right?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, they're changing a little bit, but the Brooklyn style pizzas are a little bit, they're definitely gaining some popularity. When I'm not on my little health journey, I'll call it, that's what I'll go to.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel you, man. All right. Thanks so much. So here's what we're gonna do. Okay. Hello, famous pizza. Yeah, yeah. Heard that Jason loves your pizza, so like we need a stack of them. I'm right in the green room. Thanks. So totally real call. Uh, to a famous pizzas up in like uh, that's the place we go to when we grab some deep dish on the way out
Uh-huh.
of New York and going into Jersey, like northern Jersey. So we grab that. So they're one of our major sponsors, like as you just heard, totally real call, and they'll be in the green room for you. Okay. So while
Awesome.
we shift gears a little bit, we're going to bring you right back after our sponsor segment. Um, Folks, so you heard all these amazing things about what he's been through and how his journey has really shaped his life. So make sure you grab Jaison's gift down below. There it is again. It'll be also be in the show notes and in the banners. And also we have I don't have any sponsored really things. We have a summit coming up this week. Actually, it's coming up today. So if you haven't had a chance to go to it yet, make sure you grab that link and connect. My second TEDx talk just landed officially on the official YouTube channel. So there it is on the TED channel live. So make sure you grab that and please spread the journey about invisible disabilities like mine, where I've had to, scream in quiet frustration. I mean, that title is called How to Speak When You Can't Talk. So please do share that. I don't get anything for that. It's just about sharing that impact with the world. And if you want to really impact the world, our new channel is right there. Make sure you grab that and you like and subscribe so we can keep on doing good for everyone. So as part of doing our good, make sure that you have a branding statement. If you don't have one yet, here's something that we can do for you.
When you throw a rock into a lake, what happens? No, there's a splash. You make an impact, and then you get waves. And then you don't know where those waves are going. Those waves are going past around the reeds, and you don't know where that impact is. So all of you out there, when you're on stage, you don't know where your impact is going to end. It's never going to end.
All right. So in today's segment of 60-second mind shift, we have 60 seconds to change the way that you think. Well, guess what? Jaison was talking about how the new leaders, when they come in, maybe they have a certain perception about how leadership is because of the way that people have treated them. I think that when we are building a new team culture, one of the most important things that managers can do to become leaders is use these two things right around your head. There's a reason why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. It is so that we can listen twice as much as we talk. And if we do that, you'll realize that that is the way that people connect. If you listen to them wholeheartedly and give them a chance to express what their concerns are, what are the things that we can change? There's an old saying, God give me the a wisdom to understand what I can change and what I can't, right? So I probably really messed that up, but that quote, but God give me the wisdom to understand what I can change and what I can't. There are many things that are in your power. You can definitely do that. I mean, like another way to say that is, what you sow, you will reap. And there are seeds of understanding that you can plant with your new leadership right from day one. If you show them by example that, for example, my last the manager who I loved working with, she was a true leader, because right from day one, it was not only was she super intelligent, but it was her empathy beyond everybody else that really struck me as like, this is a person that's going places because people want to work for her. And that's the kind of leader that I want to be, and that's the kind of leader that most managers should subscribe to be. So let's bring back Jaison and see how his food was and if he saved me any. So Jaison, welcome back, brother. How was the pizza?
Hello. Welcome. I'm glad to be back. Pizza was fantastic. I saved you 1 slice.
Oh, fantastic. I love it. Most people don't. They're just so hungry on my show.
Oh, no, we can share.
Nice. So what do you think about that? What was your big takeaway from the 60-second mind shift? What would you add to it?
You hit the nail on the head, Raja. When we're thinking about our ability, right? We can't control a lot, but we can control our attention. So when we are listening to the people around us, hearing their feedback and actually giving them the respect of listening, things tend to get directionally better. Because the last thing we want to do as leaders is act as if someone else's ideas or thoughts don't carry value, because now we're limiting their growth, their output, and potentially harming the company's path. So that's where I would say I completely agree. The more that we can take a step back, listen more than we speak, it will always serve us in a better way, because then we buy time, we buy ideas, we buy bandwidth, and that really bodes in our favor.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So well said. Jaison, you get a victory bell for that. And there is his link again, one more time, so that you don't miss out. Make sure you click on that link and learn about what it is that mode can do for you. So, Jaison, last question of the day. If someone gave you a blank check, what would be your grand vision to change the world?
Love it. You know, this is actually an idea that I think about often. It's I have a lot of different ideas. Now, one that I think is the most relatable to today's topic, and a few things that I think would be helpful for leaders, especially in the manufacturing space or just new leaders across multiple industries. I think of I want to open up some type of training center. It's almost like a retreat type of center where it's remote, maybe in the mountains, away from distractions. But the goal is to create a space or a hub for growth, for learning, for innovation, for hosting retreats and training and workshops. And I have this idea of partnering up with organizations, whether they be nonprofits or faith-based organizations, even communities, so that we can gain access to the people that need it the most and find ways for people to get the highest caliber of training and opportunities that they can find while they're secluded and focused solely on this goal of making themselves better and improving their skills. So I love the idea of partnering with organizations and communities on a faith-based, on a service-based, and an innovation-based level.
I love it. That's fantastic. So that falls right in line within the future. Like, we'll definitely talk, because like I want to create a nonprofit, a 501c, something like Invisible Disabilities Organization that helps to bring awareness and education to schools and companies. How all these different invisible disabilities affect all the people. Help bridge the gap and help all better.
Awesome. I'd love to hear more, my friend. Sounds great.
Thanks so much. All right, folks, thanks so much for being here and being amazing. And I just want to add one more thing I forgot to mention. Don't forget that we have our Rising Tide Summit coming up on December 21st and more than a 50% of the proceeds are going to go to the charity, the NSA, the National Stuttering Association, a 501c, something close to near and dear in my heart. So make sure you keep that day open with amazing speakers. And I got 2 keynote speakers already set. Looking for a third one. I can't wait to see who it is. And our 400th interview is going to be live. So don't miss it. And last thing I just want to say, I want to thank you for being part of this journey for the Unbox Me Today show. Today, Jaison is interview number 399. Can't believe it. In a little bit over 2 years. And I can't believe how fast it's gone, because I set the finish line. I said, I'm going to meet this. And I did. And it's that simple thing of doing what I say and saying what I do help to blow this up and really spread my impact. And thank you so much for everybody that are followers on the YouTube and the Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook, everywhere. I appreciate all of you. And as we curtail the end of the year, just think back to how you can start changing and impacting the world. I'm Coach Raja. As always, believe it and become it. And we'll see everybody on the next show. Thanks, friends. Bye-bye. All right, Jaison, 30 seconds. Got 3 questions for your quick testimonial. What was your biggest takeaway from the show today? I'm sorry. Why did you want to be on the show today? What was your biggest takeaway? And would you recommend me, scale of 1 to 10, how much would you ever recommend me to somebody else's show?
I love it. I'll start with the last one. 10 out of 10. It was a pleasure.
I love it.
Yeah, Honestly, I know we met kind of second-handedly. It was kind of random how we met, and I thought, hey,
Yeah.
Roger seems like a good guy, and we randomly hit it off, and I thought, okay,
Right.
this is
And that's
someone
what
that
the
I
same
kind
about
of
you.
want
I'm
to.
like, I got to talk to this kid, you know?
Yeah, and I just figured it was something interesting, and when you'd shared kind of what you're doing, I thought, oh, hey, this sounds amazing. So I just wanted to learn a little bit more and support people that I think are very well deserving of that support too. And then the let's see, my takeaway, I really liked your 60-second middle section.
Mhm.
I think you hit a lot of the key
60
points
second
that
month,
are
yeah.
very relevant. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. Beautiful. Thank you so much. The podcast crew knows what to do from here, and we